Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful hosts and co-hosts, Dylan. That's me. And Ethan.
Name is it.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for a rousing conversation?
Are you ready to rumble?
Of blood.
Squat,
Are you ready
squat, 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 squat.
Are you ready to be entertained? I believe is the correct phrase.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not?
I'm fairly
Can you
thoroughly entertained.
Man, what a good line.
I feel thoroughly entertained.
Anyways,
I just
before
in
we
my
get-
notes, I have notes about some of the things that happened in this movie that I
Oh,
found
man.
so I actually had from like not even maybe like a quarter of the way through the movie. I was like, if the movie doesn't end with this, I'm going to be sad. And I'm pretty sad to say that even though it ended well, it didn't end with what I called it. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I totally thought I had it, but
Okay,
we'll get to that
yeah,
later.
we'll get
I was like, it's gonna end this way, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be sad. I'm not, but still.
Anyways, what's been going on with you guys? Anything fun happening?
No.
Sean did a little dance like he was gonna do something else. I was like, yeah.
I did a little jig, and I was like, ha, I'm boring.
I did a little jig just now. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that's about it.
Yep,
folks.
that's about it.
The only thing that I think I've done so far that is of note, that is different than the normal week in and week out stuff, is that Dylan and I sat down for a bit and kind of had a little
We talked.
we talked about some stuff.
Wow,
For-
roommates talking
for the
wow. You guys
I know.
actually,
I can't fucking believe it,
Oh
dude.
my god,
It was nuts.
because
Jeez,
I've been working a lot and then also going to the gym after work. So the joke here is that recently I've barely been at the house at all, and on my off days I'm just chilling while they're at work. So I haven't actually talked to my roommates in a solid week and a half.
Right.
But we had
For
a
you,
chance.
it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, whoa, talking to your roommates, plebeian
the
stuff.
heck?
What is this?
What the
We,
fuck kind of dimension is this?
we
Different
talked
planet.
kind of the weeks coming up, because it seems like every podcast is going to land on like some sort of holiday.
Yeah.
With so we
The
have
planets aligned.
Yes, exactly.
So did we.
No. It's not pronounced it's pronounced podcast aligned.
The plan
The plan casts
aligned.
align.
The podcast aligned.
I love it when the plan casts
The
align.
young Zathoth aligned.
Whoa! Slow down. I did not say we could start bringing that into this podcast.
Ah.
We need more Shuggoths.
No.
Podcast needs more Shuggoths.
I'm gonna mute you guys right now.
knowledge will add flavor.
We're only 3 minutes in. I'm gonna shut you guys down right now.
I'm not going to go ahead and say it.
Call me Ma.
Shuggoths 2024 is all I'm saying. All right.
Oh, if only.
Yikes!
Actually, I think it was Cthulhu 2024. I think it was like I Hate Everybody was his campaign slogan.
Yeah, see, Cthulhu,
or like everybody sucks. I think was the campaign slogan.
Everybody sucks.
dude, I would vote for Cthulhu with 100% confidence.
I'd vote
Because
with,
if we
yeah.
wake
I
him
want
up,
you to know that I'm going to clip that sound and I'm just going to put it on the soundboard right here.
that's fine. People need to know.
I would vote for Cthulhu if I get neat jackets out of it.
I mean,
Cthulhu 2024, I'd get that on a jacket. In fact, I'm gonna have my people call your people. I'm gonna get a jacket with that on there.
you can get a cool jacket before.
That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna get one advertising for Cthulhu 2024.
Okay, good. Because, once he wakes up, it's like just a hard reset
Yeah.
for everything.
That's all I've wanted. That's all
That's
I've
what we
wanted.
need.
What
right
Dylan's
now.
trying to say is better capitalize now before it's too late. I think
Yeah,
is what
no,
he's saying.
exactly. I'm gonna live it up before Cthulhu comes back and have a hard reset.
At least I'll get to see him and not be able to comprehend.
Yeah. Wow. Amazingly
Period.
unimaginable.
That was a good
Something
place to stop.
absolutely undescribable. Wow, it's a horror, and then
Oh.
you reset. Yay!
Nice.
I'm insane.
But anyways, on a lighter note,
Cthulhu is a very light note. Thank you very
That's
much.
as light as it's going to get.
I'm pretty sure that's the deepest, heaviest note.
Deep
Yeah.
knowledge.
Whatever. Forbidden knowledge or
and
something.
whatnot. But yeah, so far it's been pretty fun. I've had some ideas. We also talked in a little discussion about some other podcast ideas. We may not do the full on like Spotify and all that kind of stuff, but we were talking about, just some, role playing stuff. We have like our Forced and Destiny game. I want to sit down and I really want to be a game master for that. And I think having a little YouTube series, just YouTube exclusive, but like a podcast format like this, we have maybe one other person. I think it'd be really fun, really cool. And we also talked about like another little idea. So just some stuff in the pipeline that we're kind of talking about that I'll gotta be up to speed later, Ethan. But
yeah.
In other news,
In other news,
I'm gonna conquer my my big fear and play some Dead Space.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Chicken
You
out
into that?
last time.
I did, man. I don't know why.
And he can say that with all honesty, and all courage. He can say that. I chickened out.
I'm
did.
I'm saying
gonna
this on the
bullshit.
air right now because I'm hoping that if I say it on the air that it's called public shaming and that he actually he actually goes for it next time and he's like, I didn't chicken out this time, and then we can all clap on the next episode.
Yes, well, I thought. I ruminated and festered on my shame, and
Festered on my shame.
yes.
That's
now-
my favorite. That's my
I
new metal
brooded
band.
all of my regrets.
and now I'm ready to suffer.
I hope you guys will support me. My new venture, my new metal band, Fester in My Shame.
Oh fuck! No.
I like brooding on my regrets as well. But
No, they opened for Fester in My Shame.
Jesus.
brooding my regrets and festering in my shame.
On-
The
they
two
were-
hit metal band.
It was on the Cthulhu 2024 tour.
Oh damn.
Oh my god.
That
Bringing it
works.
full circle, guys.
Yeah.
Man, that was so good. Oh god,
So yeah, I got some necromorphs to look forward to
fun.
keep me company on the best old planet cracker in the business.
Yeah,
The USG Ishimura.
the coldest nights of winter, deepest, darkest
Space.
recesses of space.
Deepest, darkest space.
Yes.
Fucking goddamn it.
I didn't know space could be alive, but this one's dead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
But anyways,
Gladiator.
We talked about. We watched a movie called Gladiator.
No, we just talked about it. We actually haven't seen it.
We just
yet.
talked about
We
this
just kind of
movie
sat
called
around and
Gladiator.
I talked about how I haven't seen it yet, and then it was
One thing led to another. You
Here we
know.
are.
Yeah,
We
we had a couple fights.
Yeah, right. A couple of
Swords were thrown.
people were not entertained.
Yeah.
So
Shadows. of
swords were thrown a handful of times.
Yeah, a handful of times.
Some spears too.
You'd think they'd throw a spear, but no, they
The,
didn't.
the pacing of the movie was very interesting. I think
Yeah.
the way it was like going back and forth and like
Really?
the way it introed with the ending of the movie with the wheat fields,
The wheat.
and then the way it like
Oh yeah.
the way it's like it goes over a battle
His
and, like,
dream,
makes his character like of him being a general and like
Super
the really
respected.
it starts off strong with that epic like
That I'm
war
telling you,
scene that,
that
was like
first-
something out of Game of Thrones but like better even though it's so old. Like it was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
it was a really good
That-
scene. Like
that first act right before he goes home. So that first like intro, the whole like probably I don't know 30 minutes or
Yeah.
probably 20 minutes or so of like that
front
first
line sequence.
yeah of like the fight, the conversation with the emperor and all that or Caesar. Like man, talk about like a lead up to like this is your character and it's like man I'm rooting for this guy
Mm-hmm.
right out the gate. You're like man he's a good guy.
Supremely likable.
Oh man,
big epic.
Honor incarnate.
yes.
Yeah.
I-
I really like him.
I-
That was a neat character.
One of my first notes that I had written down was that every character that is portrayed or talked to or has lines to some degree felt so real.
Yeah.
There
all
was
the characters felt important. Like they all had their time to share.
yeah, but it also felt like not only was our main character there that is like war hero, knows some stuff, but is able to glean wisdom from everyone around him is what it seems like.
Yeah.
Every person that talks to him, there's this level of like they're instilling like little bits.
Yeah.
But it's like every character feels like they have weight.
Mhm.
Especially like that the emperor himself talking to him.
Marcus Aurelius.
Man, just talk about like
Mm.
hitting it hard with some of the dialogue sequences.
Yeah.
I was like, man, woof.
Old speak is cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. I wrote down a couple of lines 'cause I thought they were both cool. And I also I don't know, I just thought it was like a funny line. Where one of the guys was like, "People should know when they're conquered," and then our main character says,
Yeah.
"Would you? Would I?" And I was like, "People should know when they're conquered." Nah. I see. I'm not one to give up. From the very beginning of the movie, you lead him up to being like, someone else is like, "These guys should know when they're defeated," and he's like, "I don't know what defeat is." From the very beginning of the movie, he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Would you know?"
We are Rome.
I don't know what
Yeah.
defeat is. I'm not gonna get defeated. I'm gonna die before I get. I don't know what you're talking about, buddy.
Yeah.
And then I also like the next line where he was like, "I want to go home," and they were like, "Never took you for a farmer." He said, "No, dirt cleans off a lot easier than blood." And I was like, "Oof."
Yeah.
Oh,
Dang.
man.
And then of course I love that because again it's like I don't know. I think that's why he coats his hand in dirt.
I thought he just did that kind of like a.
I think it's a symbolism thing. He
no,
says
I
that.
didn't think it was a symbol. I thought it was just him, like, when people use chalk when they're rock. Like, I thought it was like it helped him dry up his hands to get a good grip on his sword. To be fair, that's what I was thinking. But also, like, I guess
I think it was a symbolism thing. It was not like saying like, oh, it's gonna help me clean my hands better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm gonna put some dirt on my hands. That way, it's like so that way when I get blood on it, it's like it. I don't know.
It keeps him grounded.
Yeah, it keeps him grounded.
Reminds him of the farmlands while he's killing people.
Keeps him humble, I think, because they reoccur that a couple times. And
every time he fights, he's like putting mud or dirt in his hands, and he's like just doing it. And I guess it could be deep, but I just thought of it as him like, just like I said, getting some stuff on his hands, getting something ready to get a good grip on his sword.
All right, let's do a quick search. Does blood-coated dirt still wash off as well as regular dirt?
Probably so.
I don't know. But you can look it up
Dylan.
if you want.
I think I don't think he actually cares about that, but
I mean,
but you're right though. You're right.
All right, I was just saying.
There's also parts where like I remember just watching it, like I talked about this in a lot of movies. I think a lot of the movies we watched so far have really great budget for this, but like I loved the costume designs, especially the ones for the Emperor.
I really liked the young Caesar, not like old Caesar, but young Caesar.
Oh, Commodus.
Commodus.
Yeah,
I really liked his outfits. Every time I came up on the movie, I was like, dude, he's dripping too hard, man.
Man,
like
he got clout.
Got too much drip on scene right now. Like I wish I had
crazy.
I wish I had something like. I wish I could wear that and get away with it. Probably could, but still.
Could.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely.
People would look at you weird,
but honestly, I'd
stop you from
probably still earn clout, and I just don't even know how. But like, how about that scene though? Like he goes home, like the dramatic, emotional scene when he finds his family.
Wow,
right?
Jesus!
You want like talk about motivation, a character motivation of like he just wants to go home, and again after all this stuff, like you can tell like he got threatened that his family was going to be dead, and the fact that he's like just riding to get home. And then he was just that late.
My thing is like
it's still smoking.
It doesn't tell you, like he says it later, but at that point he's like he believes in an afterlife. So he's like, I can die and get back to my family, but at that point he's like, I can't die until I kill Commodus.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't say it though until his second time meeting with Commodus, where he's like, I got one more person left to kill, and he looks at him. I was like, there it is. This whole movie, like he was thinking it, but the fact that he said it too was really nice later on.
Because it's like and again, what a wonderful transition into like the act 2 of the movie, where it's like you have the setup, you have the traumatic experience that happens, and then it's
now he's Gladiator.
But and it's like not only that, it's like setting change, scene change. We're in a different place, different time. But it's like still very recent as to what happened in the recent events, and it's like, man, and it just kind of like it gets you ready for like the journey ahead. And it's like, it was just, man, it's so good.
And the thing is, like in this podcast, like the stuff I wrote down was just fun stuff and cool stuff, but like it was such a long movie, but also like there's so much ground covered in the movie. I just choked while breathing. So there's so much ground covered in the movie that it's like I can't even write notes about like the conversation. I almost choked my breathing again.
Jesus, Sean, what are you 5 years old?
I don't know. My esophagus stopped working. Shut up. So I like the conversations between him and the original Caesar, and then like things that there's so much that gets covered, and all of it's good. Like the whole movie, you feel invested. There was only one point whenever I was like, I just got really interested in this fighting and him being the gladiator, and it goes back to Commodus, and I'm like, gotta be honest, buddy, you are so boring. Right? There was only one time in the movie whenever I was like, yeah, Commodus is a nerd, no one likes him, and I was like, back to the fighting.
You fucking put me to sleep.
Yeah, there was only one moment in the movie where I was like, all right, I don't like this, like, because it transitioned from like him and like I want to know more of these people. It goes back to Commodus, and I'm like, yeah, I still hate you. Is something gonna change here? And then so there was one time whenever I was like, this feels a little bit, but generally like just the whole movie, it's like you're watching it, you're captivated, you're always wondering how something's gonna happen.
But with, like I was saying before, is like the outfits, the setting, the atmosphere,
that mud.
Gosh, man, there's like, it does such a good job of like making everything feel like it's in the time period.
Yeah,
so good, dude. There's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, there aren't any pictures of Rome in its heyday, are there?
I don't think so.
Probably just
probably paintings or speculative. Yeah.
Probably not.
Because
no.
man, the way they portrayed the city in this movie,
yeah.
holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big city.
Oh yeah, that was a
I wanna
fucking
go to the-
metropolis.
I want to go to the Coliseum one day.
Me too.
Oh yeah.
That'd be cool. That's
I
one of my
love-
bucket list item. Oh, I have to put that on my bucket list. It is a bucket list item.
Mhm.
I love that. Like whenever they finally get to the Coliseum, his
Juba.
his name Juba, sits there and he's
Juba.
like, "Dude, I didn't think
Humans could.
I didn't
make
think men could make stuff like
yeah,
this."
he said men. And I was like, honestly, like when you think about it, like now we've got things way bigger than that. But
Yeah.
also, like at the time,
That was
you're still kind of impressed.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
and what they did with that's pretty ridiculous. Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
So, but on my next note, I wrote, which I have to give some explanation here because I wrote it because I just thought it was really funny, but also like I had to give some explanation. So it's after his like first or I think it's his first or second time in the arena, and he like kills all of them. This is right before his line where he says, "Are you not entertained? Isn't this
Yeah.
what you came for?" But he kills all of them and then stands there and just throws his sword at a cup and like slam dunk hits the cup off the table. The jug falls over, and
Yeah.
all I could think of was flying sword technique.
Yes.
oh my
Right.
god.
So then he's like,
Man.
he does that, and so this is actually before the line where the other guy talks about like your giraffe
This also-
mate. Well, you sold me queer giraffes, which I wrote down queer giraffes as well because I was like, oh man, that's my new favorite
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say was you said flying sword technique because literally before, wasn't it?
Oh no, so there was another. There was actually
Wait,
two.
when was the time when it was whenever he was heading home, right?
So never mind. I have them written
Yeah,
down
yeah.
in order now. So he says the first one was flying sword technique because he's all chained up. They're going to execute him.
Yeah.
And then he's like someone's getting ready to kill him, and he just like fights the guy and kills him. And while his hands are bound,
Still bound.
he grabs the sword, throws it, and impales a guy on a horse.
I would say-
and then that was whenever I wrote down flying sword technique.
I would say whenever I was going to describe it, I was going to say he has his hands bound and he hucks a sword.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
he doesn't. Not
He
even
just-
throw. He just.
I can just imagine, like, I know in the scene he was badass. He just like threw the sword over, but I could just imagine him being like, like,
No skill.
just no skill, just like get out of here, you nerds.
Precision
And then
movement.
him just like dying, and it's,
I was like,
oh,
dang, dude.
it worked.
Oh shit.
I was kind of hoping to just knock him over, but it worked.
And then maybe 10 minutes later, he's in the Coliseum, just hucks a sword
Right,
again,
yeah,
and boom,
exactly. So
knocks
then
the whole picture over.
That was whenever to get them back into order. That was
Yeah.
whenever we have the queer giraffe scene, right? And then our boy Maximus gets purchased. He goes in the arena and he
Yeah.
throws a sword again at a pitcher, slam dunks it, and that was whenever I wrote down flying sword technique. They're not entertained. So this is
But
the
I
part,
am.
after seeing this twice now. He's thrown a sword and managed to make epic things happen with it twice.
Yeah.
I was like, if the movie doesn't end with him just hucking a sword upstairs and just killing Caesar, I'm
Upstairs.
gonna be upset. If he doesn't just kill everybody, look at Caesar and be like, and just murder him.
Why
There
does
was a
that-
moment whenever he had a spear and you thought he was about to throw
Oh,
the spear at
yeah.
Caesar, but I was still like, not
He
a sword.
thought about it.
Oh,
yeah.
he thought about it.
I was like, not a sword, doesn't count. But also, like, I was pretty.
He realized it wasn't a sword. He was like, oh,
Yeah, right.
shit.
He's like, this isn't part of my signature move. He
This is
dropped the spear.
my signature technique.
he
Right.
has to know.
So I was like, I'm gonna be a little disappointed if he doesn't just really beam a sword at the guy.
Where are the stairs?
Right? And he just runs him
Man.
through and like. But then again, like, how would the movie end? Then everyone's like, oh my god, he just murdered Caesar, and he's like, I just did that. Like,
Well, I was
I
gonna
was-
say, a little spoiler warning. Isn't that how the movie actually does end?
yeah, but
He
it
kills him, and the crowd's like, "What just happened?"
But it
Sure.
ends on like a different note. Like if
Oh,
it was just one battle like earlier on, and he just like throws his sword at him and murders him, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh God, he murdered the emperor," and probably kill him.
Yes,
So
exactly.
like, I'm happy it didn't happen, but also I was like, a little disappointed he didn't throw a sword again.
Yeah. If we could, man,
Oh man. So
there's just so many things between characters that happen in conversations, and like, there's so much to unpack
There's so
about
much,
each of the
yeah.
characters that,
Yeah.
man, it's the interplay between all of them are so nice. It's
Yeah.
I don't know.
let's just
they
start
all
with
carry
who's
weight.
everyone's favorite character. Dibs on Juba.
Ah, fuck.
He is
He's a good
100% my favorite. And I was like, it's weird because usually I pick bigger characters, but he was kind of a like important character with like lines.
His interactions with Maximus were one of my favorites.
But it's just like he has like depth.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe he is kind of a big character, but still like, you know, you kind of expect like,
Yeah.
I don't know, Maximus or something.
Right.
But like,
I was gonna say,
but like Juba and maybe I forgot. I didn't actually know his name, but the other guy,
Big Chad.
Yeah, I called him Chad. Yeah, I was like, I don't know his name, but I called him Army Chad, because like he's the guy like the chiseled jawline, the other big warrior dude who had the
he
red
is like
paint on
he
his
is.
shirt.
The hugest.
I was gonna say
motherfucker.
he is significantly more jacked than all the other boys playing.
Yeah, and like the way he goes out, what a Chad way to die.
Oh, yeah,
that's
definitely.
what I said. Rip Chad whenever he because he just got like shot like 3 times and then ran through by 4 people, and I was like, rest in peace, Chad.
Dang.
But,
That's about what it would have taken.
Right, and so he was cool too, but I think Juba is hands down my favorite character in the show.
One of my
Just,
favorite
like,
characters was Marcus Aurelius Caesar.
Really?
Yeah.
He has a very what's the character I'm thinking of? You know it. You're gonna probably guess it before I can. He has a very Uriel Septum vibes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
100% has very good Uriel Septum from Oblivion.
Let me
But-
see your face.
Yeah. So the stars were right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like very Uriel
Men
Septum
are but
vibes.
flesh and blood. They know their doom, but not the hour.
My favorite character in like anything ever, especially like in movies, is the old character played by an old actor.
Oh yeah.
It's like they're always so short for this world. But like they always kill it so well
so good.
because they're not like fake old. They're actually old people that are probably super wise and they're playing this character and they just get in the role and they're like, "You are my son." I'm like, "You're right, I am." I don't know, man. It's just there's something.
I mean,
about
like
them.
there's so many.
They got the Jesus beards. There's just something
even
about
though
it.
Jesus beards.
even though his character is in a fraction of the movie, there are
Small
so
fraction.
many. There are so many scenes and so many dialogues with him and Commodus and with him and Maximus, his actual son, and of course his adopted son, basically.
Yeah.
There are so many points where he's talking to them, and there's just so much that I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
There's so much to get from it.
Yeah.
And again, like
And that's really the tone for the whole movie.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
In all of the little scenes and the big things, there's just so much.
yeah.
Like even in those, like that really fits for everything. Like even like probably my second favorite character, even though like he doesn't do that much, is Cicero.
Oh yeah.
Probably my second
Oh, yeah.
favorite because like he's even smaller than Juba is as a character.
definitely.
But like his role as like the squire, he's a really real character where he's like. At one point, Maximus asks him. I forgot exactly what the question was, but he asked him about like how he feels about like going home or what he or if he ever doesn't want to do what he has to. And the guy's like,
that
sometimes
was his introduction scene.
yeah, and he was like,
Yeah.
sometimes I thought you might have bumped into him before, but still, he's like, sometimes I do what I want and I have fun with it. Most times though, I just do what I have to. And like I was like, that's a really nice line. That's a really cool character.
Yeah.
And like you see him later, and like the way he dies is like really sad and like but he's just such a good character.
Even to his death was like a good guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I think he was just a stand-up character that like
Yeah.
his time was taken from him, but like he was such a cool guy. Like
Yeah.
man, I appreciated him. So
Even his short time was impactful.
every character felt like that, where it's like, oh man, like I kind of like, come on, like he was probably my second favorite character,
Yeah.
and like he was a really small character. Just,
Even to kind of go back to what I was talking about,
Yeah.
there's like I love the quippy little one-liners too. Like there's a point where it's like, you know, I think it's actually the last time Maximus talks with Aurelius, where he talks and he says something to him or whatever, and he's like just got finished like instilling wisdom, like a banger of a quote or whatever, and then he's like, "Now go get an old man another blanket." And
Yeah,
I'm
right, I
That's
like
just
that
so
one.
good. I was like, man, I love it. It's just
yeah.
it's I don't know, it's
I
awesome.
liked the attention to detail in whenever he goes in to fight, like his one-on-one fight with the undefeated champion or whatever.
Yeah.
And the part before that, he's made soup, and everyone's looking at the soup, and everyone has the same idea on their face. They're all just looking at the soup, and he's like,
Yeah.
So then Chad, I forgot his name, but
Yeah,
Chad's
Big
like,
Chad, yeah.
Chad's like, come on, guys. See,
Yeah.
he takes a bite of the soup, and he's like, see, no, we're good. And then just it acts like he's choking, and then starts laughing. But then after they're all laughing, he kind of puts the bowl down, like nobody eats the food. And there's a moment where his face darkens and he gets pale, like he actually got poisoned, right? And then later on, what's his name? Commodus.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to get his name. Almost called him Commodore.
Commodore 64.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I was like, so then later on, Commodus is like, don't worry, this was rigged from the start. So you like figure most likely it was actually poisoned. And I was like, that's so funny that he like acted and like it's like a small detail, but was really, I liked that a lot.
Man, I don't know.
I think I had one more note. Let me double check. Other than
Mine's about the ending.
yeah, I was about to say. I think the ending. So we can skip to the ending then real quick, where they fight each other. It's a really good scene. He's already like been.
There's
injured.
a whole
Before
that happens. But just to bridge the gap. There's a whole lot of political stuff that happens. A little back and forth. How they end up like getting him out of slavery or whatever.
Yeah, and then he ends up getting trapped, stabbed, and then basically the fight's supposed to be rigged again because he's been bleeding out by being stabbed in what appears like his like kind of mid back. So we're talking like something vascular, either his lung or his liver. Handle. Yeah, right. It was low because I was still thinking
that's what it looked like.
It looked like with the. This is just me being medical. I'll be honest. It looked like with where he was stabbed with the bleeding. I was like, he probably deliberately stabbed him in somewhere like the liver or something like that, where he's like bleeding a lot. That way he's weak before the fight even starts. That was his plan. Yeah. Or there was poison on the knife, but I'm pretty sure
it was meant to be mid to upper back. I think, or mid back, whatever, because his breastplate was
cover it well.
Yeah.
You can stick blood all down it. So he gets stabbed, and the point is that he's weak before the fight. But he still is able to just about make the fight, and he ends up beating him in the fight. But my favorite part of this isn't like, you kind of know how the fight's going to go, even though it's kind of up in the air. Like, this could have a different ending. But but I feel like I kind of knew how the fight was going to go. But what I didn't see coming was his vengeance that he had, but like his like righteousness about it, where whenever he kills him, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Like even I sitting here watching the movie, I was like, I want him to say something like, "Gotcha, bitch." I want him to say something like, and this is because I'm pretty sure, right? I watching this, I'm like, he's probably going to win the fight and then die. Yeah, and then when you see him like kind of deteriorating, you're like, okay, so now we know he's probably going to finish this, kill him, and then die. So I was hoping he was just going to be like, I got my last person to kill, I'm good now, and like, or tell him you lost. He says nothing. Just finishes killing him, drops his corpse, and then like that's it.
Like, yeah.
And I was like, wow. Even in like the end of the movie, I was like, this dude's a better man than I am. Like straight up, I'd be like all up in his face about it. Like, what the fuck you got?
I think the whole movie's meant to be that. It's like, this guy's a better guy than I can ever
than
be
any of us. Yeah. But still, that one hammered it home. Like for all of this, it was like, it like felt really within reach. Like, like a horrible person could do that. But at the end, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I've got that much in me.
Spitting all over this motherfucker.
Right? Yeah, I'd be
especially
like, gotcha, nerd.
Especially
like,
whenever, and like to solidify what you're talking about, Ethan, is like before that, whenever like the previous conversation that Commodus and Maximus have, there's a point where, again, this is like the second time that he's on the battlefield, or I mean on the Gladiator field or whatever, the Colosseum arena. And he has the Praetorian Guard surround him, and he starts talking to him about something or whatever. Yeah. And he says like how your son screamed like a child and your wife moaned like a whore or whatever. And it's like, and he still turned around and was like, and just bowed his head and was like, "Your Highness," and then just like walked away.
Laugh it up, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's coming.
He basically said,
yours.
Yeah, he said, "Your time will come." Yeah, and then was like, "Highness," and then walked away. And I was like, that's neat. But I also like the line before that where like he's chained up when he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What, do you think I'm afraid?" And he was like, "I think that you've been afraid about everything your entire life." And I was like, "Ooh, that's a good one." Like that's a really good one.
Damn.
So
I think he's like, "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" And he's like, "I think you've been afraid of me your entire life."
Yeah, he said something like that where he's like, you've been fearing your whole life. Yeah. It's kind of what I got out of it. And I was
in fear of me your whole life.
And I was like,
I think it was meant to be because of like him and his father or whatever. Because they directly go, I hope you and your friend.
I think you just said like you've been afraid your whole life. Like again, it might be of me, but in general, I was just like I liked the line a lot, whatever it was.
I think you've been a coward since the day you were born.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, or that. Like it can be taken a few ways, I guess. But I really enjoyed it.
The conversation they were having was like he starts to chuckle at the fact he's like, "You want to fight me in the arena?"
Would.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you really?
And he's like, "Do you think I'm afraid of you? You think I'm scared of you?" He's like, "I think you've been afraid of me since the day you were born."
It's like that one fucking meme where it's zooms in on, what's his name? Leonardo DiCaprio. And he's like, "You will?"
Oh, yeah.
It was straight up.
Right. Yeah. He's like, "I'll fight you in the arena." Zooms in, "You will?"
Yeah.
You had my curiosity. Now you have my, what was it? Interest? No. There's another one. You had my curiosity, but now you have something else. And my attention. That was it, I think.
Anyways.
There we go. That's
So
don't look at me like that, Dylan.
I mean, no. I just don't want to see the real one.
What was it?
anyways, let's not worry about it. So the so my what I would say like I got out of that last fight sequence was there it was the build up to that final blow. Mm-hmm. For me, like there was that point where like he gets disarmed and he's like got the Emperor Commodus gets cut on his right arm and drops his sword
and the motherfucker goes whah. Give me a sword.
But then, like,
I got a hidden one in my fucking wrist.
I like how even with the hidden sword, I like how he's still like just is like, oh, you have a hidden sword. Oh, too bad it's just short enough that I can still kick your ass. He just starts decking him in the face.
But what I'm saying is, it's that it's the heaviness of like all of a sudden, like I can't remember what his name was. The new general Quintus. Yeah, Quintus is standing there, and again, this is the guy that was Maximus's right-hand man. And then, of course, as the new emperor comes in and is like, get rid of Maximus, Quintus is like, all right,
I kind of have to.
Gotta do what I gotta do. So again, like, to some degree, I understand him, but at the same time, you're like, man.
It's kind of like
it's kind of
Quintus's redemption arc kind of thing.
Yes.
Where it's like, essentially, Commodus challenges Maximus to a single combat duel.
Yes.
And then whenever he gets disarmed, instead of trying to get his sword, because to get his sword, he has to go towards Maximus, and he knows he can't get it, right?
Yes.
So instead of going to get his sword,
because Maximus still is armed.
Exactly. Yeah. And Maximus can take him if he gets just close enough.
Yeah.
So he can't get to his sword, so he just asks for someone else to give him a sword.
Yeah.
But because it's single combat, they're like, no. So then he asks all of the guards surrounding him, someone gave me a sword. They all get ready to unsheath it, and the guy's like, no, sheath your swords.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because that's the thing is like he asks Quintus specifically. He's like, Quintus, give me your sword. And Quintus is like,
he just stands there.
He didn't say
anything. He didn't say nothing, but you can see like that, like the uneasiness, like the, oh no. Because again, technically Quintus is closer than Maximus at this point, like in at the way the stance is or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after Commodus gets pissed off, like Ethan was saying, he starts asking for guards. And, of course, Quintus is like, hey, guys.
They all start unsheathing their swords. And he's like, no, keep them sheathed.
I want to see how this plays out.
This is a one-on-one duel. So he's like, fine, I got a knife. And then gets his ass beat.
And then this is where, like, what Ethan said, gets just
clapped.
Smashed in the face.
Like, he's like, I'm going to draw a knife, gets punched in the face. I have the knife, gets punched in the face.
Maximus pulls off a fucking ultra combo on this piece of shit. Like, you can hear one of the crowd members go, ultra combo!
But, like, in ancient Rome, they knew what this was. It was a time traveler who came back just to shout that.
Showed them killer instinct.
Anyways, as I was saying, like, at that point where Quintus tells all the Praetorian to sheath their swords to like see how this plays out, Maximus proceeds to like go, okay, I see how this is going to be, and then throws his sword on the ground. And it's like, we're going to finish this man to man. So it's like, even in that moment, it's like, if you're going to be too coward to fight with a weapon, I'll just disarm. And then, of course, then we'll just duke it out like men. And, of course,
then he draws a knife.
Then he draws a knife.
But
then, as the boys were saying, he proceeds to get his ass handed to him.
Combo.
Ultra combo.
I feel like it's like, oh, okay, fine. We'll just do this hand to hand, no arms. So we'll just, we'll throw the sword on the floor. And then he's like, he draws a knife.
Oh, okay.
And it's almost like Maximus is just peak done with his garbage because he draws the knife and is like, no. And then he's like, but I got the no. And then just keeps on like hitting him and ends up killing him with the knife.
You about to find out.
So this is what I wanted to get. This is the point where it's like the climax of the whole story. And it hits different for me because, again, this is one of Ethan's favorite quotes. But it's also, for me, it's the dichotomy of the whole movie. We have been, since Act 2, when, like, again, Proximus, the kind of the slave master guy, tells you, he's like, the crowd, he's like, you kill people, you put that in the flesh of a man, they cheer. And eventually, they love it, or they will love you for it, and eventually, you'll love them for it.
Yeah.
And that's been, like, the arc of the Gladiator.
Even though, like, he's doing things, he can't do anything wrong, because it's like, even when he's merciful, they're like, wow, he's so different. They're always cheering.
But so what I'm saying is, like, we have been conditioned through the greater part of this movie is that when someone gets killed, everyone's like, yeah!
Finish him!
Kill him, yeah. And then there's this one point where like everyone's kind of cheering. Everyone's like, oh, I don't know what's going on.
Cheering about the fight.
Like,
and then when they realize what
they're
it means for the fight to come to the end, they start quieting down. Because it's like...
There's a point where like when everything starts to kind of chill out and they're like duking it out with their fists. And then of course there's that point where like they're both bloodied, but like Maximus has his hand with the knife and it just like definitely has the upper hand as far as strength.
Slowly approaching his neck with the knife.
Slowly approaching his neck, and it just kind of holds it there. And of course, there's this tension, and then it gets real quiet.
Crowd
and then of course,
completely silent.
I was gonna get to that later.
As he gets that killing blow, silence.
No one makes a sound.
No one makes a sound.
Oh yes.
And I feel like it's like even
then,
we feel the same way watching it. Like we know
it
like
hits different.
what's going on, and it's like either the whole crowd, you can feel it. It's like the whole crowd cheering this whole fight on it, and then as the fight comes closer to an end, even the crowd's realizing like, wait, either Maximus, our favorite person, dies, or our emperor dies. What does it mean if our emperor dies?
Yeah.
Wait, none of this is good. This is all bad, and that's why it just quiets down.
I feel like it puts everything into question, and then like you just hear his body just drop and hit the sand.
With a loud thud.
And you could hear a pin drop.
You could hear his body drop on the sand.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's like,
cricket.
oh my God.
Yeah.
And then of course, like as
things happen.
Yeah, the movie wraps up at that point.
They give
of course,
him an honorable send off.
Yes, exactly. And it's oh man, just
the conclusion of the movie altogether is good, but really that big fight scene was it.
Oh.
And I love
is
that. Like of course, we made the joke as well. My favorite.
Oh yes,
my favorite subtitle has been "Squelching Stops," but now my probably tied for my favorite is now also "Crowd Completely Silent" because I don't understand why, but like whenever I read that, I was like, "This is a dramatic scene," but I couldn't help but chuckle. I was like, "Crowd completely silent."
Crowd completely, because it honestly was.
Yeah, they're cheering is a big deal.
It's such good sound design because it's the lack of it.
Yeah.
There was no music. There was no sound effects. There was nothing.
Your focus is on the death of the emperor.
The light squelching noise of it going into his neck, but there was no real sound effects.
Exactly. Yeah. but that's what I'm saying. But like, there's no like ambience or whatever. It's no fanfare. Exactly. It happens, and you're like, oof.
Hey, look at that. That's a dead man.
Yep. But anyways,
I thought it was great. It was a good movie.
I
I see what the hype's about, having watched the movie, because it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was definitely the culmination of everything. The arc of all of it coming back around full circle. And it's like, man, so good.
Oh yeah.
But I watched this movie. I must say, I watched this movie probably years back, and I loved it. It was a great movie. But it's been a long time since I've seen it. So now,
Who says revenge isn't satisfying?
Especially when you get to die after.
Yeah. But like, watching it again recently was really awesome, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Anyways, I hope you guys will stay tuned for the next coming weeks because we have some really great Christmas-themed episodes or holiday-themed episodes coming up the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun.
About to deck your halls.
About to deck your halls,
We
bub.
should watch that one. We should watch Deck the Halls.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. I'm ready for turbo time.
Ta-ta, Turtle Man.
Ta-ta, Turtle Man.
Anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, instantly a win.
Oh, yeah.
Instantly a win.
Definitely.
10 out of 10. I'm sold.
Give me the cookie now.
Give me the cookie now.
Anyways.
I have to watch that movie now.
If you guys haven't already, we are on Spotify.
Put the cookie down.
We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on all the big places. Type in The Aftermath. You can find us.
You know where to look.
You know where to look. You know where to find us. We're also on YouTube and stuff like that. We have a link tree that has all the links to it, /eWolf. You can find us all there. Again, as always, we really appreciate you guys listening. It means a lot to all of us. So thank you.
Please.
Yeah. Put the cookie down.
And until next time.
Don't put us down. We love you.
Bye-bye.